And there is no time and space as a usage when you use a memory. And the memory seems to be connected with all kind of consciousness. And it has consequences. Just because we have a boundary, either in the genetical form or the emotional form, or both. But this is no prisoner. It doesn't make you a prisoner to realize it. It actually is the difference between a limited human being putting he or herself in prison by thinking that all my travelings must be conditional. And unconditional traveling only means that now you have a choice. You can choose how you want to travel. And those choices are very central to this technology, because it's opening up for many different ways to understand and use your body and understand other life than only yours. And in the photon world, the reason why people are very eager to get to the understanding of photons is just because the abuse in the physical matter has been so hard. And this hardness have two central stations. It's the genetical or the emotion. Those are the boundaries. So you can imagine if you take a zinc cure from a zinc pill or zinc gas or zinc-based liquid plasma, then the reason why it's working or healing is just because it's calling up for the plasma and the zinc that you do have in your body. So of course it's natural. But why does it take time? And especially when you realize there is no time. Time is an illusion, coming together with space, space-time. Those two are illusions. Space, time, and the five senses are based on photons. You cannot really touch them. How can you touch your taste? So you have to make the experience. And even if you do, it's still photon-based. It's abstract. But the sensation, what it does, is not abstract. What does it really do to a human being if your grandmother that you never get to know, she's 6 feet under for at least 80 years? How can that affect you? Well, in many ways. And it's proven over and over again. But we don't listen. We don't understand. If you really understand that anger, frustration, revenge is based on low energy, but it doesn't look like low energy. If you have a mass murder, referring to the amount of people that this person have murdered, doesn't look like low energy. It looks like huge consequences. But where or how can this be huge consequences? Well, it's either to the genetic state or the emotional state. It does something to you. And that's what the elite knows. So they're using the goodness of the human being against the good human being. And it's using generations and genetics against the human race. For us to discover those skills, we have to see and remember why we have the five senses and space-time in the first place. The human being has intentions that are energy-based. And it seems that some of those energies are conscious, which makes us push. It makes it possible to judge once again between good intention and bad intentions, for example. But if you forget just for a second or two between good and bad intentions, and you're aiming for pure intentions, And you realize that pure intentions must be something like photons. So you can describe them as white light, something that is bigger than you, but not with a measurement. More like you're part of what you believe in, like a purpose of life. So when you describe pure intention, you don't need respect anymore. You don't need love anymore. Because you are love and respect. And you are life. And you are using your body correctly. You don't need honesty as the opposite of lie. Because there is no need for honesty and lies. Because you are honesty. And you will never give birth to a lie. Why would you? There is no reason for it. Unless you have to remember where we're coming from. Abuse. And very often the elite has been laughing their heads off. Because once you create confusion, we take care of the rest and the consequences. So they don't need to do much after that. They just have to spread the lie, and then we start to look at the neighbor with our measure sticks, with competition and jealousy and lacks. But the way to understand plasma technology is to get rid of lacks. And if those lacks are in your genes or in your emotions, then what is the difference really between having energy enough, having food enough, having health enough, having balance enough to feel enlightenment or enlightened? It only means that you just set yourself free, free from it all, free from the abuse. And it's a pity to see how people have skills to self-punishment, incorrect understanding of the individual, starting by the ego, starting by the very feeling of surviving, that you really need to survive. And you tend to claim that during the surviving procedure, that's where you put your life understanding in pieces, saying that there are things that you must do, things that you should do, and things that you want to do. And it seems that what you want to do is only when you have a vacation. Peace is only from Friday to Sunday. And the chaos starts on Mondays. That's of course just a habit. It has nothing to do with what the universe wants for us, as much as what we want for ourselves. We disagree with ourselves unless we start to heal ourselves, going back to the basics actually from zinc and copper. So what is it about zinc and copper? Well, zinc and copper can heal the details in a human being as much as it can heal. It can actually heal so much details that you can start to feel your essence. But the reason why Western countries haven't been speaking much about essence, to the extent that we don't remember or know what essence means. Essence. Essence is the core of yourself. And so the body have hints. We can use our brains, actually getting as smart as we want, depending on the discipline and the habits. So when you learn something by heart, the brain is quite good at it. But the heart is approximately 900 times stronger than the brain. But what does stronger mean? It's not stronger than your thoughts, because you can hear yourself thinking, but you can't hear the heart as much. It seems to talk to us in a very low. Many people, 7 billion people, can't hear a thing coming out of their hearts. How many times must we die to realize that the heart is the essence of life? Where death is just a detail. Because what you just did was to go from the material state to the photon state. And as photons, you still are able to say, I am. And in those states, very often, first it feels like a release, and then you get to see your loved ones. Isn't it typical? But that's not all to the photon matter. You also get to remember stuff, and you get to realize what you did good in life, and things that you actually want, that you choose to make better. Under cover of what we call reincarnation. There is no, and has never been any reincarnation. There has been re-understanding. There cannot be any reincarnation if there is no time, space, or 5 senses to receive it with. So, once you jump as a kangaroo from one lifetime to another, measuring in linear time, it must be from one illusion to another illusion. Now you can realize how important it is to make choices in life. Good ones. What is good choices? When you cannot understand what's best for all. What's best for all is when you give up. That's when it starts. That's when you have peace and understanding. Not when you want. Because when you want, you fill up your mind and your body with energy that is based on positive energy. You're positive, you want to do something. Very often that's when we do mistakes. Not understanding the difference between what's best for you and what's best for all. And so, what's best for all is, of course, has always been on the photon level. That's when you can start listening. That's when you can start feeling peace, not talking about it. And with this peace and with this understanding, you are dynamical. You're not some Buddha sitting just there on the ground, finishing life, however. You start life with peace and understanding. And the reason why I repeat understanding is just because understanding is just between war and peace. Understanding doesn't need competition or measure sticks. It only needs experience. When you experience peace, you can do whatever you want with it. But if you're positive loaded or negative loaded, you think what's best for you. That's going to create just another experience. It's not necessarily your rights or others. It seems to be the law of cause and effect. And we're leaving cause and effect. We're leaving the 5 senses. And we're leaving time-space. To get into reality. And many people these days are referring to a combination between the 5th dimension and reality. But in the fifth dimension, they still have time. 1,000 years can be a fraction of a second in the fifth dimension. But that's only if you use your focus on time. You don't need time in the fifth dimension. And that is happening to us now. We don't need time, space, and the five senses. But we have to remember what it used to do to us, those five senses. We were using them as tools to have a life experience.